begin today by acknowledging the contribution of our forefathers who have helped in creating a world based on freedom and human dignity. I extend my respect to people of diverse culture, faith, color, and gender, and pledge to work for equity, inclusivity, peace, and harmony. A very good evening to one and all present here, respected dignitaries, guests, professors, researchers, media professionals, faculty members, and my dear students. I, Dr. Manmeet Kaur, Associate Professor, DME Media School, part of Delhi Metropolitan Education, welcome you all to the inaugural ceremony of 5th edition of the world's first 7-day hybrid International Media Conference, ICAN5. The International Media Conference ICAN5 is being organized by DME Media School of Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida, in collaboration with the School of Communication and Creative Arts, Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. I would like to take a moment and introduce Delhi Metropolitan Education to our esteemed audience and guests. Delhi Metropolitan Education is an A-grade premier educational institute affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi, and approved by the Bar Council of India. DME Media School is one of the most promising media institutes in the country. It offers BA in journalism and mass communication. It is recognized as a school focused on the growth of its faculty members and students through academic and co-curricular activities. Major flagship events and initiatives of the school includes B.G. Varghese Lecture Series, Peer-to-Peer FDP, International Film Festival SIFI, International Conference ICAN, Vritika, a convention of media students, and newly added to the list is Vibrant India series. ICAN5 has come up with the theme Inclusivity, Convergence, and Alternative Negotiations with the hashtag Communication for All in 2022. The conference beginning from today, July 1, and will continue till 7th of July 2022. ICAN5 has the support of 17 partners, including the International Association for Media and Communication Research, Gender and Communication Section, and Global Media Education Council as the conference partners. I am happy to share that our knowledge partners are Makhanlal Chaturvedi, National University of Journalism, Bhopal, Vigyan Prasad, Government of India, Keshav Suri Foundation. ICAN has international partners as Institute for International Journalism, Ohio University, USA, Green University, Bangladesh, and Daffodil International University, Bangladesh. ICAN5 has media partners Amar Ujala, The Policy Times, Jai Hind Times, and The Hindi Post. ICAN5 is also powered by Asian Media and Cultural Studies Network from Australia, Australia-India Film Practitioners and Researchers Network from Australia, SPARC, the Student Council of DME Media School, RIM, Research Cell of the Media School. The conference is supported by NOTO, National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. It gives me immense pleasure that ICAN5 will go live on the official Facebook page of DME for various sessions. And for this session, we are live on Facebook. For more information, kindly follow us on our social media handles, and we are sharing all the links in the chat box very soon. Before proceeding to our inaugural ceremony, let's all take the blessings from the Almighty. Presenting here, Ganesh Vandana by Vinayak Mishra, final year student of DME Media School.
गाइए गणपति जगवंदन, गाइए गणपति जगवंदन, शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन, शंकर सुवन भवानी नंदन, गाइए गणपति जगवंदन। सीधी सदन गज साध पग पध सा सिद्धि सदन गज वदन विनायक कृपा सिंधु सुंदर सबदायक गाइए गणपति जगवंदन गाइए गणपति जगवंदन मोदक प्रिय मोद मंगल दाता मोदक प्रिय मोद पद सर्गा सारिधसा मोदक प्रिय मोद मंगल दाता विद्यावारिधि बुद्धि विधाता गाइए गणपति जगवंदन गाइए गणपति गाइए गणपति गाइए गणपति जगवंदन.
Moving further, it is my immense pleasure to introduce Head of Media School, Professor Dr. Susmita Bala, an accomplished teacher and trainer equipped with rich industry experience and has rich academics experience of more than 3 decades. She is a specialist of radio journalism and design and graphics. Professor Bala has visited Chinese universities as a part of delegation of Indian academicians. She has attended a media conference in Australia and presented papers in the United States, Dubai, Spain, and France. She has been the part of the prestigious IAMCR conferences. She has presented more than 30 papers in national and international seminars and conferences. Now, I request Professor Dr. Susmita Bala, Head DME Media School and Chief Associate Convener for ICAN5 to deliver the opening address of the conference.
Thank you, Dr. Manmeet Kaur. Very good evening, everyone present here. I, Professor Susmita Bala, Head of DME Media School and Chief Associate Convener of ICAN5, welcome you all on behalf of Delhi Metropolitan Education, DME and DME Media School. It is a great pride that DME Media School is successfully organizing the 5th edition of its truly international media conference, ICAN5. And the theme for this year is Inclusivity, Convergence, and Alternative Negotiations. This conference is being organized by DME in collaboration with Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. I am briefing about ICAN 4 editions. ICAN was launched in 2018 as a 3-day international conference and grew as a 10-day conference in 2020. In fact, we planned it as a 4-day conference in March 2020, but right before national lockdown happened in the wake of COVID-19. So we converted it to a digital conference for 10 days with all the session live. This led us to take the credit of hosting the world's first 10-day digital live international conference. In 2021, we planned ICAN 4 in hybrid mode and scheduled it in May, but the second wave impacted us badly. So we decided to shift the conference in July. Under the impact of COVID-19, we were not able to conduct any activity in physical space. So that happened again, 10-day live conference. After 2 editions in physical space and 2 editions in the online or digital space, we are here with the 5th edition in hybrid space. We are presenting this conference before you as the World 7-Day Hybrid International Conference. ICAN5 is meticulously planned conference that will be conducted from July 1st to 7th. The benefits of ICAN are manifold. It is an opportunity to present and discuss work with media educators of high repute and offers expert masterclasses, workshop, panel discussion, and plenary sessions. Equal access to opportunities is crucial for the marginalized, and moving towards uniformity is important in the ever converging media landscape. It is imperative to facilitate discussion, brainstorming, or exchange of ideas of themes of inclusivity, gender equity, media literacy, media convergence, and alternative platform for content dissemination and inclusive discourses. I am thankful to the management of Delhi Metropolitan Education for their kind support. I am also obliged to the knowledge partners, media partners, and international partners of the conference. I acknowledge with gratitude the contribution of educators and researchers who are participating in different technical sessions, master classes, and workshops. This conference wouldn't have been possible without the cooperation of esteemed resource persons and my faculty members and students. I welcome all delegates, media educators, media professionals, and distinguished scholars in the ICAN conference. Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your opening address. ICAN5 will witness a total 26 sessions, including 18 live sessions, 5 hybrid sessions, and 3 physical sessions. The schedule comprises of 10 technical sessions, 3 workshops, 2 masterclasses, 2 plenary sessions, and 5 panel discussions. Proud to mention here that all technical sessions are being chaired by women scholars and academicians representing the different states and countries. DME TV is the official YouTube channel of DME, where you can find the playlist related to all the sessions, lecture series, film festival, and conferences. And you can also find the playlist of ICAN5 on our official DME YouTube channel. Let me take a proud moment to introduce Dr. Amrish Saxena, an internationally acclaimed media professional, researcher, author, anchor, political analyst, and film enthusiast. In DME, he is working as a professor and dean of DME Media School, director IQAC, and director of international relations. He is the convener of the International Media Conference. I invite Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena to kindly address the gathering and also highlight the journey of ICAN in DME Media School.
I begin today by acknowledging the contribution of our forefathers who have helped in creating a world based on freedom and human dignity. I extend my respect to people of diverse culture, faith, color, and gender, and pledge to work for equity, inclusivity, peace, and harmony. So I would like to start with this, only with the pledge with which we are starting the program today. This was something which we were thinking since last many months, but then we decided that let us introduce this DME pledge with the ICAN5. So we started this with the day before yesterday when the curtain raiser program started, and now onward we will be going by this only. Now a lot has been said about ICAN conference. Now, to tell you this as to how this whole thing germinated, we all started this in the year 2018. In the month of March, initially it was thought to be a national level seminar, but then the international organizations kept on extending and helping hand, and thereafter we decided to convert it to an international conference. And the same year we also organized the second conference. Now I must also tell you this, that ICAN is a conference which is the flagship program, flagship event of DME Media School. And this is not the only event which we call a flagship event. There are so many events, but particularly I would like to make a mention of CIFI, that is a Cineast International Film Festival, which we started in the year 2019 and which has also completed 3 years of its existence. And the 4th edition is going to happen in this year in the month of December. There are many more things which have been added to our calendar, and particularly the latest series that we have started, Vibrant India series, which is a 75 episode online series. It started on India completing 75 years of independence, and it's part of the Amrit Mahotsav, and we have already completed 44 episodes of this program. Now, the ICAN, because whenever we organize the conferences, the research-based conferences, so initially we thought how to name the conference. And every year, since the themes keep on changing, we very cautiously decided an acronym which can fit into in every year's conference. So the first conference, which is started in 2018, the theme of that conference was India and Changing Aspects of News. And the very first conference, we got such an encouraging response. There were 172 abstracts that we received for the first conference, and the partners definitely draw an attention. There were UNESCO, which extended an helping hand to us, and the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and then Commonwealth Educational Media Center for Asia, SIMCA, was with us. And in the first edition only, we were able to produce 4 books. In the second edition, the theme of the conference was Indian cinema and alternative networks. In this conference also, we could receive 127 abstracts. And this time also, our partners were SIMCA, IIMC, and then 5 books were produced out of the papers of this conference. And in the second edition, there were some universities which joined hands, and particularly I would like to name the Adamas University, Kolkata, K.R. Mangalam University, Gurugram, and Public Relations Society of India. In the third edition of the conference, the topic was Information, Communication, and Artificial Network. The most important part of this conference was that all the sessions were chaired by women scholars. And I would like to make a mention here that this year also there are 10 technical sessions, and all the sessions are being chaired by women scholars. What we did last year, that all 9 sessions, the women scholars were from India only, and this time we have invited 5 women scholars from other countries, which include the USA, Dubai, Pakistan, and Bhutan. Okay, so moving on, what is important about ICAN? ICAN is a storehouse of knowledge, and we are trying to create that storehouse by publishing papers in the form of books. And till this date, we have been succeeded in publishing 20 books with more than 400 papers. Now, talking about the highlights of this year's conference, there are 125 abstracts that we have received, and there are 6 continents which are represented here, and there are 14 countries which include the Asian countries, including India, China, and then Australia. Then we have got papers from Morocco, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from Bhutan, and then Argentina, Nigeria, Italy, Singapore, and Egypt. As far as the resource persons are concerned, we have resource persons from University of Miami, then Daffodil University and Green University of Bangladesh, then Beacon House National University, Pakistan, then from US, also from the Ohio University, then Seton Hall University, then Fatima Jinnah Women's University, Pakistan, then Royal Thimphu College, Bhutan, So, and then Ilma University from Pakistan, Al Falah University, Dubai. So all these educational institutions, there is a very long list from where either the papers have been received or from where the resource persons have extended helping hand to us. So now, one important feature of this year's conference in ICAN5 is the number of the partners. Every year we used to be to having 4, 5, or 6 partners. Last year, there used to be 6 partners, but this time this number has tremendously increased to 17 partners, and there are all type of partners. The important names, if I would like to make a mention, 2 international bodies. The biggest body of media educators and researchers in the country, that is IAMCR. So International Association for Media and Communication Research. The GEN section, that's a gender section, they have extended a helping hand. And then also Global Media Education Council, GMAC, which is a homegrown council of media educators and researchers, and which has very recently completed 75 sessions on media subjects, wherein scholars from all parts of the country and from almost all the countries of the world, they have participated. Besides GMAC and IMCR, the other knowledge partners, like last year also Makhalal Chaturvedi University was there. This is also, they are there. And then one organization's name I would like to make a mention here, that is Keshav Suri Foundation. Now, this is a foundation which has been working in the sector of LGBTQ. And since this year, we decided the theme as inclusivity, convergence, and alternative negotiations. So the emphasis is on inclusivity, and that is how we roped in this organization, and they are bringing 2 sessions for us. One is a panel discussion and another is a plenary session, wherein the members of the transgender, they will be coming to DME campus, and in this studio only we will be having a session with them. And there are a few media partners, and then another organization which has been added to the list is National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, NOTO, which has been working in creating awareness on organ donation. And also I must make a mention of ICAN5, who is always with us, which is an autonomous organization in the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Finally, I would like to thank all our partners, all the resource persons, and all those distinguished media scholars who have agreed to be part of this conference. And I would like to make a mention of the few names, particularly Professor K.G. Suresh, who is a Vice Chancellor of Makhalal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Communication. He, as an individual, has always been there when we were organizing the conference, the first and the second, when he was the Director General of IIMC, and when he has joined as the Vice Chancellor, then also. So all 5 editions we have got his support. And then Professor Ujjwal Chaudhary, I also welcome him. Professor K.G. Suresh is there in this session, and we will be listening to him. And Professor Ujjwal Chaudhary is also there in the inaugural session. He has always been there as a big support, and right now he is advisor to Daffodil University. He is also the Secretary of Global Media Education Council. Then we also have in this session Dr. Aftab Hussain, who is the head of the Journalism Mass Communication Department in Green University, Bangladesh. Then we also have Dr. Vikrant Kishore, who is an academic author and who is the member of the Australia-India Film Council. And as we all know that we have a collaboration with Deakin University, whether we talk about SIFI, the International Film Festival, or this ICAN conference. And Dr. Vikrant Kishore is in fact has been steering this collaboration. He has been playing a pivotal role in ensuring that this collaboration strengthens year after year. Then we have Dr. Nakul Parashar with us, who is the director of Vigyan Prasar and who is there always whenever we need him for all kind of cooperation. And we also have Dr. Jatin Shrivastava with us. He is the director of International Institute of Journalism in Ohio University. And since we are organizing this program at this point of time, because this is a big challenge for us as to what time our sessions could be organized, because when we started at 3 o'clock here in India, it is 5:30 a.m., 5:30 in the morning, and is still Dr. Jatin Shrivastava has committed that he will be joining. So that is the kind of people who are there with us. I welcome him as well. I must also make a mention of Dr. Wajia Raza Rizvi, who is associate professor in Beacon House National University and who is also the co-chair of gender section of IAMCR. He has provided support like anything, be it finding scholarly people for chairing the technical sessions or for organizing the workshops. And I again must tell you here, in ICAN5, we are organizing this time a very unique kind of workshop wherein the filmmakers and the scholars from Pakistan and filmmakers and scholars from India have joined hands, and 2 documentaries from the 2 countries will be screened, and then there will be discussion on different aspects of filmmaking. And this is in the focus of women education or the girls' education. The documentaries which will be shown are also on that subject. So that way we will be able to discuss the women empowerment issues, women education issues in the perspective of Indian subcontinent. Because there's the most unique thing which is happening in ICAN5. There is hardly any conference that would have happened till date where in all 3 countries, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh are represented. So this way the whole focus is, and more or less the issues of all the 3 countries are the same, whether we talk about the gender issues, whether we talk about the issues related to education or other sectors of development, because ultimately we belong to the same society. So that's a completely new initiative that we have done by ICAN5. And then the other distinguished people who are there in this session, I welcome Dr. Jolie Jose, who is heading the communication school in MET University in Noida. She is assistant director research in ESCO MET. And then we also have in this session with us Ms. Faiza Rafiq, who is co-vice chair of IMCR gender section. And then we also have with us Professor Maithili Ganju, who is Dean, Faculty of Media Studies and Humanities in Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and studies. So you can find there's a galaxy of people who are there in the inaugural session, which gives a big boost to make sure that this 7 days of academic extravaganza is going to be very successful, very fruitful, though it will be hectic, but then all this is going to be beneficial to all media educators, research scholars, and the students who will be with us for this entire 1 week. So I once again welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a detailed version of the journey of ICAN. Thank you so much. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Ravikant Swami, Director, DME, a professional with a career span of 21 years. He has taught at Banasthali Vidyapeeth, Om Kothari Institute of Management, Maharishi Arvind Institute of Science and Management, Hindu Institute of Management, and Arni University. Sir has also served as the professor and dean at Ani School of Business Management and also registrar of Ani University. Sir has guided various doctoral theses, MPhil dissertations, and MBA dissertations. Adding to his excellence, he has many publications in various international and national journals. Sir, I request you to please address the gathering.
It's a great afternoon today that we are inaugurating the 5th version of ICAN. And the way ICAN is evolving and growing, I must suggest our dean and the showman of this show, Professor Amrish Saxena, to get a copyright for this term ICAN. Because now it has got a lot of value. So you should go for a copyright, sir. As far as the meaning of a conference is concerned, I think conference is all about converging of differing ideas. And when those ideas are coming from all parts of the world, the convergence and the divergence both are bound to be brilliant. So that's the beauty of ICAN, that we have people from around the globe, and they come at this stage, they share their thoughts, and then we converge. Well, I should also like to mention here that the themes of ICAN have also evolved in a very organic manner, in the sense that at one point in time we are talking about artificial intelligence. Now, this time we are talking about the inclusivity, convergence, and alternative negotiations. Yes, we live in a world of exclusivity, so inclusivity is a very relevant theme. Well, convergence, I don't know the situation which our country, India, is facing these days. Convergence is the need of the hour. And alternative negotiations, yes, through negotiations only, and where judiciary is unable to perform, we go for alternative negotiations. So that's a very relevant form of sorting out an issue. So the themes of ICAN have also evolved during the past 5 years. I congratulate the DME Media School for having organized this great program, and I am sure ICAN5 is going to be a learning plus enjoyment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravikant sir. Thank you for your kind words. I'm happy to share that Journalism at DME is the official newsletter of DME Media School. This fortnightly publication covers all the major activities happening in and outside the campus. It is a student-centric newsletter carried out by the team of the students under the supervision of the faculty members of DME Media School. Now, I am pleased to invite Professor Dr. Ujjwal Chaudhary, Conference Co-Chair, Advisor and Professor, Daffodil International University, Dhaka, Secretary of Global Media Education Council. Professor Chaudhary is the former Pro-Vice Chancellor, Branding and International Relations, Corporate Relations, and the former Dean, School of Media, Communication and Fashion, Adamas University, Kolkata. Sir comes with the years of academic and professional experience and has worked with various prestigious organizations in different capacities. He has been associated with School of Media, Pearl Academy, Delhi and Mumbai, Head Education Division, Ramoji Kiran Group, Senior Academic Consultant, Amsterdam International Media School, Dean Faculty of Media, Design and Communication, Amity University, Mumbai, and to name a few. Sir has also served as the key role in building positive PR for government initiatives as media advisor, Textile Ministry, Government of India. He has been also contributed as the media advisor, the Nippon Foundation, Delhi and Geneva, focusing on creating the messaging, media platforms, events, and mainstream media PR for WHO that fight against the eradication of leprosy with Nippon Foundation. I welcome you, sir, to the inaugural ceremony of ICAN5 International Media Conference by DME Media School. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Every DME program introduces every speaker almost from childhood. It's almost a recap of our life as we have spent. Interestingly, I'm in a very beautiful part of the world. I'm in rural Bangladesh at this point of time, within 200 meters of the iconic Padma Setu, on the Padma River, which is supposed to be the second fastest river after Amazon. And this bridge has been created here after almost 10 years of struggle and 40,000 crores of rupees expenditure, purely funded by the people of Bangladesh. So if I'm speaking from a place very close to this, within 200 meters, and only 1 hour ago, I was in the village, which was the village where my mother was born 84 years ago. She has passed away two years ago. She was born here, and for the first time, I had gone to this small village named Betka in Bikrampur, which is close to this place. So when I speak to you, for me, inclusivity or alternate negotiations and convergence comes with a different perspective. For me, it comes with a perspective of reflecting the mosaic of life in its diversity. All over the world, almost all forms of thoughts today of philosophy, political science, and governance is calling for one dominant form of thought process. Everywhere, from the Western countries to the communist, whatever left of it, to the Islamic countries, and even to democratic, supposedly liberal countries like us, increasingly there is the dominance of one voice. And that voice is being made with the help of media in its mainstream format and its alternative format, that's the social media, together as the only, or at least the dominant voice everywhere in the world. And this is at this point of time, this particular programming is being organized, ICAN5, and I salute DME Academy under the able leadership of our dear friend, Dr. Amrish Saxena, and the entire team, because I now know at least 9 or 10 members of the team. It will take time to name them. So the entire team has been, whether there is pandemic or not, on earlier offline, then online, and today hybrid. It has been continuously doing for the last 5 years. This is the 5th year. And the theme that you have taken up, inclusive voices or inclusivity and alternative negotiations, I find the beauty of that as I travel in different parts of the world at this point of time in our neighboring country, Bangladesh. I find a meaning to it because as I was visiting the village of the birth of my mother 84 years ago, we could not identify the house, but we could identify her school. And I was giving a sort of PTC, piece to camera. The camera is the mobile now. At that point of time, that particular moment was relished, shared with, and relished by more than 1,000 relatives of ours at that particular moment. Unthinkable 20 years ago, 15 years ago. That's convergence for you. A convergence where a memory of 9 decades old memory, 8 decades old memory, in a different format, I wasn't born at that time, obviously, is in a different format, is being brought forth through social media and shared with almost 1,000 people, and then shared through blogs, vlogs, and other social media posting and photographs. So we have a convergence of the online, the offline, the on-air, the on-ground, all these media on one platform, the on-mobile platform. So that's being one. There is increasingly convergences of different types. Convergence of content creation, which is creative function, content development, content distribution, which is a technological function, and content monetization, which is a business function. There is a convergence there as well. The convergence of producing, consuming, and therefore you have a new concept called prosumer. I am producing the content, and I am consuming content simultaneously. And the consumption that I make creates my worldview, leads to new production again. So there is a convergence there as well. There is a convergence of functions, the functions of writing, reporting, shooting, dialogue writing, content creation and everything, with the people who are on the technology side, helping in the production of the content, helping in amplifying the content, helping in distributing the content, and also the people who actually looks how this content can create a reputation, and the reputation can be monetized. And it's not easy. Very easy to tell monetization. Some of you have your own YouTube channels. Tell me, how many dollars have you earned through your YouTube channel? Whatever might be the quality of the content. So it's a real battle out there to actually take the content to be monetized to that level that you can monetize. So there is this convergence that we find. We find convergence even within functions. Today, if there is a major event, for example, within 200 meters of where I'm sitting just now, 5 days ago, this iconic bridge, Padma Bridge was launched by the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. And at that point, any reporter who would have come would have first given a tweet the moment he or she landed, with 1 or 2 pictures of that particular moment before the start of the program. As the program was just about to start, would have sent 2-para story, which would have been the first online story, or might have sent a voice for 5 minutes, which can be the first podcast story. And as the program starts, it could have gone live. And then somewhere, when the major part of the program was over, the reporter could, because it's an important thing here, the reporter could have gone and taken voices of many people, which could have been sent later, edited and used, television story. And the reporter would have come 4 hours, 5 hours later to his base, take his laptop out, write the full story. That's the print story for the next day. A debate in the evening would be the studio story for that evening. And an in-depth story of the entire history and all the controversies connected to this project would make a weekend reading deep dive journalism there. So the same reporter, from 256 characters of a tweet to 2,000 words of a deep dive story, from audio, video to text, and maybe even infographics. The same story is packaged in many ways because the audiences are split across multiple media. That's the convergence of functioning of a reporter. Same for an editor, same work for a filmmaker. You have 30 seconds. Why 30 seconds? Even 10 seconds films. And you have 3 hours films. Each format has a different function. We have started calling microfilms, mini films, short films, featurette films, feature films, and mega films. But finally, everyone does an audiovisual storytelling itself. And the same, this form of convergence we see in brand communication, integrated brand communication, where the story is seamlessly taken from this medium to that medium. So convergence is the reality of life today in media and communication. Inclusivity. As I said, whether any form of government today in any part of the world, including that of USSR, Russia, today Russia, surely Russia is a majoritarian government there, and almost all other governments, including ours, there is a tendency to make one thought dominant and shortchange the reflection of voices of multiple groups of people. It's not about just minority by religion. It can be a minority by language. It can be a minority by any other form. How many times have you seen a film that upholds the rights of LGBTQ section of the population? The type of film like Aligarh, how many times have you seen? How many times have you seen a film like Mulk, which puts forth the pangs, the agony of a religious minority. How many times have you seen the films like Pink, which says one particular, which reflects one particular aspect of a modern woman's life, no means no, or Thappad, which talks about marital violence. So the point is that while the various sections of the society are diverse, our communication is unfortunately increasingly becoming dominant on certain values, certain groups, and certain voices. So we need to harness the power of convergent media, because today's convergent media is more democratic. I mean, the entry barrier to start a television channel is high. A newspaper is higher, but a news portal is much lower. With small money, our friends have started newslaundry.com, thewire.in, Fast Post, and many other portals, which today reflect diverse voices which otherwise did not find alternative. Even a fact-checking platform called Alt News, founded by two youngsters, Pratik and Zubair, have created so much of impact in public mind, we know that. Irrespective of what happens to Zubair tomorrow, it must be noted that one of the international organizations proposed his name for Nobel Peace Prize. So therefore, there is the need for inclusivity of diverse voices, and I appreciate your taking inclusivity as a core theme. And alternate negotiations, surely the dominant voice of development is lost under the garb of growth. And this growth is more in terms of financial, mechanical form of growth. And hence, whether the trees will stay in RA forest or not becomes a development polemics. And growth tells cut down the trees for a metro shade. Development says keep the trees alive for a better, cooler, and lung-full Mumbai. So therefore, there is need for alternate negotiations to be reflected in media and communication through blogs, through vlogs, through virtual reality and augmented reality applications, through platforms like Barkhadat's Mozo channel, which was, if you remember, which was the first channel to tell us the stories of the migrant laborers who were running from Delhi back to home, from Bombay back to home, and were facing untold sufferings, and many could not even reach their homes during the first lockdown. The story was not broken by a newspaper or a channel. It was broken on Mozo channel, mobile journalism channel. So alternate negotiations, inclusivity, and the use of convergence for ensuring alternate negotiations and inclusivity is very much necessary. How many times have you seen any write-up which actually upholds the right of the transsexuals, LGBTQs, the way Ashok Rao Kavi, the poet, brought forth a LGBTQ or pride magazine called Bombay Dost once upon a time. We also see that different movements like the Kisan Andolan making use of YouTube channel, Kisan Andolan channel, was such a bold attempt to bring alternative negotiations through the use of convergence. I wish this conference all the best. Let more and more examples of such inclusivity, alternative negotiations, and the positive democratic use of convergence of multiple media be brought forth together on this platform from various countries. I think there has been already a talk by Dr. Saxena. Several countries are represented here through various aspects of this 7 days program. I hope this program, this conference, which has created a niche for itself in the Indian academics of communications and media, brings forth the voices of multiple sections of the society in an inclusive manner through the use of alternative media as well, is brought forth on this platform in an emphatic manner. With this hope, I will take a break, and thanks everyone for providing me an opportunity to address you in the inaugural session today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ujjwal sir, for your address. You have definitely touched the essence of the theme of the conference. And I must mention here that sir is always kind to support and associate with DME Media School. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you so much. Moving further, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce our collaborative partner from Australia, Dr. Vikrant Kishore. A filmmaker, academician, and journalist, he has authored and edited books on Indian cinema, celebrity culture, and intangible cultural heritage. He has worked with media channels like Z News, ABC, SBS, and Channel 7. At present, he has been capturing stories of cultural flows and its impact on the Indian diaspora in Australia. He has organized various international conferences, film festivals, and seminars on Indian cinema. He has been a jury member in various film festivals like Atom Awards Australia, Real Film Festival Newcastle, Melbourne Web Film Festival, and Doordarshan National Awards India. He was a pre-jury member of the Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Arts Awards in the year 2018. Dr. Kishore is a board member of the Australian India Film Council, a member of the Victorian Multicultural Commission's Regional Advisory Council, and an advisor to the Scalon Research Institute. I welcome you, sir, to the inaugural ceremony of International Media Conference ICAN5. I request you to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Manmeet. And hello, everyone. And before I start, I would like to recognize the various traditional lands where we are located here in Australia. And I acknowledge the elders past, present, and emerging. I acknowledge and pay our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. I also acknowledge and pay my respect to the struggles and rights of the Dalits, Adivasis, and the marginalized of India. When we are talking about inclusivity, we have to be as inclusive as possible, not just through our words, but through actions as well. And I really was impressed by the opening remarks of Professor Ujjwal, and who really, gave a kind of a perspective of what inclusivity and alternate voices are all about, and gave some really good example. And I hope to hear more during this particular conference. It's very important, and especially for students to learn and understand. What I've been seeing, especially in the Indian media, journalism has become something these days, especially mainstream journalism. It really pains me to see. In fact, I've stopped watching the mainstream channels of India, barring NDTV. Sometimes I watch it, but now my major source of news is online media, looking through it. And there have been, and Professor Ujjwal, mentioned few of those kind of channels and few of the people who are now being hailed and few who are being jailed. It's such an unfortunate times. And I really pity these kind of circumstances that are going on. But for any media institute and media students and media organization, a conference like this should be a time to deliberate, reflect, and, ponder upon how to make things better and how do the students take their steps into the field of media communication and journalism. So it is great to be back at the 5th edition of ICAN, and I can see the ICAN network has grown tremendously with some amazing collaborators and partners. And I welcome you all to this online gathering. I'm looking forward to participating in the conference and to support the work of academics and students. The past ICAN conferences have been very well organized and with great outcomes. I'm sure the 2022 edition will also be very rewarding and an enriching experience. Through the conference, our aim has been to build a network of Australian Indian scholars and practitioners with the optimism to work together and collaborate on research and practice-based projects. I hope we can do this strongly in future. I would like to thank the management of DME, Mr. Aman Sahni, Mr. Dhamma Singh, Professor Ravikant Swami, Dr. Susmita Bala, and all the staff and students of DME. And most importantly, I thank Professor Amrish Saxena for his continuous effort to make ICAN a truly international experience for the students, which is very important. Participating in this kind of a conference not only will be very rewarding, but also help the students build their research profile. And these days, it's not only the kind of job that you're going into, in terms of academia, but any job that you undertake, having a research profile especially when you undertake your media and communication kind of course, it's very important to build that. It's very important to get published. And I can see, DME has been publishing books at each ICAN, and that is a great opportunity, and that's a very good help for any student to get published, to be visible, and to be recognized, because you don't know which particular article of yours can be quoted and cited by any scholars. In fact, recently I was doing an article for one of world's best film journal called Senses of Cinema. And I ended up, using an article by some students from Amity, because they had written an article on something that I was looking for. And there was only, there was the student article, and I ended up quoting them. So you don't know who ends up quoting you. And these days, citation becomes very important. So you need to, make sure that you write well. Don't just write for the sake of, filling in the words. Use references properly, understand how to do referencing, understand how to do citations properly. And most importantly, do not fall into the trap of plagiarism, okay? And also hone your skills in writing, okay? So writing is also a big skill. So as a teacher and as a media expert, generally I find lots of, and if I may use this, word, trash coming out. And this is one thing when we do conferences like this, is to help students understand how to hone their skills, how to create their own voice, and how to use experts to strengthen their voice, okay? So utilizing multiple sources and resources and valid resources, and not just rely on anything which is there on internet. So also understanding which particular, sources are the best to go about. And probably this must be being covered in your classrooms. But at a conference like this, I always feel it's very important. It is our duty to let you know that what do we see generally are some really, subpar work. And that's what we don't want that to happen in a conference like this and the kind of outcome that we see. I wish all the participants all the best, and I look forward to support ICAN, and of course, SIFI, which is very close to my heart, in every possible way. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Deakin University and Dr. Vikrant is always supportive to collaborate with DME Media School and DME. Sir will be conducting a workshop in one of the sessions in ICAN5. We are obliged for your collaboration and support, sir. Thank you very much. ICAN always embarks on a special theme to bring out research revolving around the social structures where humankind evolves. ICAN 1, India and changing aspects of news. ICAN 2, Indian cinema and alternate networks. ICAN 3, issues of community, agenda and news. ICAN 4, information, communication and artificial networks. And this year, ICAN 5. Now I feel delighted to extend a warm welcome to an achiever from the law fraternity. It is always a delighted moment to listen from our Director General, Sir, Honorable Justice Bhavar Singh, Sir. He is a visionary administrator, writer, educator, speaker with high intellect. He has served judicial service as judicial magistrate and additional district and sessions judge in the UP Higher Judicial Service cadre. He has also presided over a special court of CBI in Dehradun. He was appointed as Registrar of Allahabad High Court and later on as the Registrar General of the Supreme Court of India. He was elevated as Judge of Allahabad High Court. He was nominated as the member of the Merit University Governing Council for 2 terms. He was also appointed as the chairman of UP Judicial Training and Research Institute, Lucknow. He is the honorary chairman of Tribunal of the Arbitration of Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia National University, Lucknow. And he is also associated with group of institutions of the Sunshine Educational and Development Society as Director General. I request Director General, sir, to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Manmeet ma'am. Mr. Aman Sahani, the Vice Chairman of the Sunshine Educational and Development Society, governing the Delhi Metropolitan Education College and many other institutions, Director Ravikant Swami, and Dean of media and journalists, Mr. Amrish Saxena, our old-time partner, Dr. Vikrant Kishore, distinguished guests, and learned participants. It gives me an immense pleasure to be a part of this inaugural ceremony of ICAN5 conference. The topic for discussion and deliberations is a vast subject covering all the important aspects of mass communication and journalism. The media and women emancipation, media and development, media and communications, media community and pandemic, agenda setting role of media, presence of multiple interests in the arena of communication, and city journalism. Friends, it gave me an amusing interest when about city and journalism. I read about one Korean citizen, Mr. Oh Yeon Ho's, when he was fed up with the traditional media and their reporting. As a consequence, the Korean entrepreneur declared that now onward, everybody is a reporter and everybody would be a journalist. Omi News, a news website was started, and the specialty of this website was that any person, any citizen, that's why it was named to be a citizen journalist, any citizen across the country, rather across the world, could upload his her news on this website. And very quickly, interestingly, the reporters count touched 50,000 numbers. Friends, this practice was brought into existence later on in every part of the world, that is in every country. And as technology grew, the issues, the crime scenes, and the newsworthy events, particularly the citizen journalism, reported terrifying happenings such as acid attacks on girls, natural calamities, and so on and so forth. And citizen journalists work in two different arenas, one on their own and the other with organizations. When they work on their own, they create something new. They make comments on the current news being telecast by the TV channels or reported by the print media. And they post their own observations, sometimes inventions and discoveries too are shared by them. Friends, through social media, Jallikattu, a practice being followed in Tamil Nadu, a state of India, was not approved by the masses because of the violence that happened, resulting in calamities, causing injuries, and even death. This Jallikattu was protested by masses, and it was brought to the media as an individual social media attempt. Friends, working with a blog, they disseminate by photograph, audios, and videos the news they create, they notice, and they make. Friends, the advantages of city journalism are many. There are first-hand contributors during critical instances. They offer opportunity for talented people. They offer good amount of space for marginalized groups. That is the greatest success of their blogs. And also they talk about the problems that mainstream media forgot to throw the spotlight on. Friends, proceeding towards the women emancipation and empowerment, I'm reminded of the great saying by one Ghanaian scholar, great Ghanaian scholar and missionary, also an educator, Dr. James Aggrey, who once said, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. However, if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Great. This statement rings true even today, especially with the often inhuman treatment meted out to women in our all parts of the world. Friends, development communication techniques for empowerment of women include information, dissemination, and education, behavior change, social marketing, social mobilization, media advocacy, and communication for social change. Friends, the information communication technologies which have developed during last 2 decades are not enough to meet the need of the day. I remember once Sylvia Balti, Sylvia Balit, a great author of United States of America, observed that the traditional dialogue and existing indigenous communication systems have also to be relied upon. In other words, she said that blend of the two, that is the information and communication technologies of the day and the indigenous communication systems will be able to improve the communication system. Friends, although there is no jacket formula or fixed rules to communicate with the marginalized group of persons, yet some principles which are still valid as guidelines on how participatory communication can best be used to work with isolated and marginalized groups. Friends, there are regulatory frameworks for the governmental functionaries who can enable making of policy regarding the language, identities, cultural diversity, and traditions of minorities. With this, I wish this conference a huge success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind address. On behalf of DME Media School, we express our gratitude to the audience who have joined from Bangladesh. I extend a warm welcome to all the esteemed guests and dignitaries. Heartfelt welcome to Professor Robert Firdaus from Dhaka University. We are pleased by the graceful presence of Mr. Aman Sahani, Vice Chairman, Delhi Metropolitan Education, who has been a pillar of strength and support to the institution. A dynamic, visionary, and very young leader, he is a graduate in economics and politics from University of Manchester and MSc in global politics from London School of Economics. His interest in academics has led to the starting to our higher education institutions, DME and DTC. Apart from this, sir has also been the founding director of T-Series Stage Work Academy, which is the training and development wing of T-Series, India's biggest music company. Adding to his excellence, he has been associated as the dynamic leader and expert with Delhi World Public School Noida Extension and Mayur School Noida. I request Mr. Aman Sahani, Vice Chairman, Delhi Metropolitan Education, to address the gathering at the inaugural ceremony of ICAN5.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be a part of the opening ceremony of ICAN5. ICAN is the flagship event of the DME Media School. And it's overwhelming to see that it's been 5 years already. It doesn't feel like 5 years. It feels like it was just yesterday. But 5 years also goes to show the amount of consistency that we've seen from the media school. It also goes to show that that we have been persistent in our chase of high quality events, our pursuit of excellence, and the kind of partnership and support we've seen has only grown through the years. And here I'd like to thank and acknowledge the contributions of Dr. Vikrant Kishore, Professor A.G. Suresh, Professor Chaudhary, amongst others. So we've been very lucky in that respect. We've had a lot of very good people associated with us, very good universities. So like I said, it's all a bit overwhelming in that sense. A conference like this is not easy to organize, so I'd like to congratulate the media school for putting up this great effort. And I'm very eager and excited to learn new things in this conference, just like everybody else. And the topics of inclusivity and convergence are definitely worthy of contribution and discussion. So my best wishes to everybody. Thank you.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome and introduce the keynote speaker of world's first 7-day hybrid international media conference, ICAN5, by Delhi Metropolitan Education, DME Media School and School of Communication and Creative Arts, Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. Dr. Sheikh Mohammed Shaiful Islam, Chairperson, Department of Journalism and Media Communication, Green University of Bangladesh, and Vice President, Global Media Education Council President, Bangladesh Chapter. Dr. Sheikh is a senior media academic and researcher who has been teaching journalism, communication, and media studies at a graduate and postgraduate level for the past 20 years. He achieved PhD degree from the Department of Mass Communication and Journalism, Dhaka University. He is intensively engaged in research, training, and advocacy in the fields of media, communication, journalism, and socio-economic development. Sir has rendered consultancy services to the British Council, World Bank, Helvetes Germany, GIZ, Article 19, Helpage International, HomeNet South Asia, International Labour Organization, and International Fund for Agricultural Development, Save the Child International, Concern Worldwide, and to name a few. He is a resource person of the Press Institute Bangladesh and frequently invited for training the journalist and carrying out research works. He has written more than 100 interpretative reports and post-editorial articles on human rights, gender issues, social and political problems, mass media, good governance, socio-economic development concerns in the leading newspapers and periodicals. We are delighted and happy to have you here, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Since I think that time is very much limited and I shouldn't talk too much and should be within time limit. But I would like to congratulate Delhi Metropolitan Education and also the Deakin University and all other partners, distinguished guests and dignitaries who have organized such an immense and very time-worthy program, conference, ICAN. So my subject of today's keynote speech is digital and social media literacy and emerging reality in Bangladesh and India. By this time, some of my respected speakers prior to me highlighted some of the points. And then since the paper is a very lengthy in size, I shouldn't go through it verbatimly. Just I should sort out some points so that these are the foundations or fundamentals of our way forwards for the next some days and also in our near future for both the countries. That's why I'm trying to keeping my speech short. And I'd like to request the moderator and also the organizers that after today's presentation, I would also send it or share it, revised one, so that it can be shared with our all the dignitaries and also participants who kindly took participation in today's program. So I think that I shouldn't go to the verbatimly, but I should have only the key points. Digital and social media literacy and emerging reality in Bangladesh and India. So actually, we can easily understand and realize the importance and significance of the subject as the media educators, professionals, and media researchers. But especially for the students, this session will show some pathways and guidelines, especially the students and all other who are not directly from this background. We know that now we are undergoing a very huge transformation, a landmark innovation of media communication technologies, and a change is very much evident in the forms of media ownership pattern, messaging, audience profile, control, and management. As my earlier speaker, Professor Julkumar said, many points. So I'm skipping this, that convergence, really a convergence has been very much evident in the field of media, also communication, and also content, and lastly, not least, but in the cultural convergence. This is also very much visible thing. But and this transformation has given our mass people, mass audience, a new identity that everybody is now the owner of the media. So this is the actually very much blessings of the science, which is sometimes less rewarded with the facts. How? Because being the media owners, many people actually have know how to use the media. Actually, here comes the question of, is this expansion of the media convergence or communication convergence really benefiting the countries like us, especially Bangladesh and India? So this paper actually and this discussion actually advances with this key question that how are these digital and social media platforms are benefiting us or creating anarchic situations or demeaning our development initiatives. This paper actually has been developed to focus on this issue, very particular issue. Could you please go to the next page? So we know that media literacy, actually this is an evolving concept, which is also undergoing very much vicissitudes, change over time to time. We know that even in the primitive ages, you know that the modern human beings are the products of 70,000 years ago. But even our written system, our printing press, our mass communication, mass media amenities didn't develop hand in hand with that primitive level of human civilization. But these amenities we got very quite later, especially in the primitive ages, what the human beings used to communicate just using gesture, posture, and later also in after many years ago, some forms of logographic communication, pictorial communication, we know. So then, after the innovation of the start of mass media actually in the printing press during the 15th century, and also further expansion of reading and writing. Then in the second industrial revolution, so which focused or concentrate mostly on broadcast media, and it just dominated up to 1950s, and wire and wireless communication also. Then we got a huge emergence of audio visual forms of communication. And after this, we found digital amenities, digital platforms, and internet also, which dominated in most of the spheres of human communications since 1980s and 90s. Now the social media penetration and the communication platforms have been opened, especially for the up to the mass level, at the grassroots level. So now this is an age of information. Since this 20, 21 and 10, so this is actually the information society in this present age, and the present century has been marked with the huge growth of these digital and social media platforms. And with this changeover, with this transformation, media literacy has also got new definition, new meanings, new characteristics, and new features across the globe. The objective of today's discussion is actually to give an overview of the state of digital and social media literacy in two South Asian developing countries, which are historically closely tied each other, Bangladesh and India. To understand the growth of the social media, their uses, abuses, and thus recommend the way forwards to a healthy advancement with this present growth. By this time, I have also covered some of the points. Now I would like to focus actually what is media literacy. Media literacy, regarding media literacy, you know that you are all the experts are here, very much distinguished researchers here. You know that we didn't go on agreement or consensus, come on a consensus that this is media literacy actually. But mostly the experts, whatever agreed on, that the critically use, developing an ability of using, identifying, using, and also producing content meaningfully and also in compliance with the existing laws of the land, legal frameworks, and ethical standards. So just understanding media, media message, nature of the media audience, media content, and also message. So all these things actually come to be covered by the media literacy. We know that by this time, UNESCO in 2013 has defined the concept as a set of competencies that empower citizens to access, retrieve, understand, evaluate, and use to create as well as share information, and made content in all formats using various tools in a critical and effective way in order to participate and engage in personal, professional, and societal activities. So similarly, in the European Union and many other organizations, departments, experts have defined media literacy. But what are the actually stages I have also discussed? Then come to the, especially in line with the evolution, the print media literacy, then ICT, literacy on ICTs. ICT means, you know, that both offline, online, both digital and analog technologies. And then we come to the digital media literacy. Now we are arguing for and advancing towards greatly about the social media literacy. And An expert Koiru states that digital literacy means having the ability to use technology in order to find resources critically, evaluate these sources and create information. And in fact, UNESCO has identified rightly that digital literacy as a necessary life skills to succeed in this technology-driven era. So that's why world leaders must not only place emphasis on gaining access to these technologies, but also providing training to utilize these services properly. This actually, this paper has been based on a conceptual framework, though the concept has been in 100 years ago almost outlined by sociologist, you know, that American sociologist William F. Ogburn. Ogburn in 1922 outlined about a cultural lag. So what is cultural lag, you know, but due to the shortage of time, I'm just pointing out for the students who joined here that when the materialistic development supersedes the non-materialistic development, that there creates some social menaces. Whatever we are now seeing all over the world, especially in the developing countries like Bangladesh and India. So what is the non-material and materialistic culture? You know that in terms of today's communication expansion and evolution, we can see that the use of communication devices like the smartphones and other amenities have been augmented, have been raised, enhanced, and reached to even to the grassroots level population. But the intellectual ability, use of ability, responsible use of these amenities is still a matter to question. So that's why a cultural lag is being visible, especially in the developing countries like India and Bangladesh, where we see that people are almost using these platforms without responsibility, irrationally, and sometimes we purposefully, subjectively, to spread fake news, rumor, and thus create anarchic situation that sometimes lead communal disharmony, violence, strikes. So that's why the development initiatives, whatever Bangladesh and India are achieving, sometimes is being eroded due to this type of activities. And if we just have a comparative picture of India and Bangladesh, we can see almost similar because some of my previous speakers and very much expert researchers also discussed about this, that almost we share similar socio-demographic features, socio-demographic characteristics in many spheres of life. For example, population of living in urban areas and rural settings, literacy, general literacy rate, and many other issues like this. But when we compare this data in terms of adoption of social media platforms, then we see that both the countries are advancing quite a very quickly. And it can be discussed that 47% people in India have internet access, while this is more than 30% in Bangladesh. And social media users are also almost like the similar, 30% in Bangladesh and more than 33% in India. And this is very much suitable for this because it is thought that if we analyze the demographics of these two countries, that we can see that from 13 to 44 years, a range of population, 64% people belong to this category in Bangladesh against 52% in India. And it is perceived that these people, especially the people belonging to this age strata, are very much suitable for using social and digital media platforms and amenities and online resources. So what is the problem now here? Why literacy, especially digital and social media literacy, are crying need in Bangladesh and India? We can see that repeatedly fake information, rumors, subjective and purposeful illicit contents, audiovisual contents are prepared and spread out through these digital and social media platforms. For example, I can mention here now, though I put a number of examples from both the societies, Bangladesh and India, in the paper, due to the time limitation, it's really impossible to cite all these examples, but only 2 or 3 examples I'm placing here. In 2013, a rumor was spread that one of the religious leaders' image was shown on the moon surface, but he was detained actually in the jail and punished by the court. So that's why a religious sentiment was hit, and many people believed that the leader has a supernatural power, and he's now in the moon, and the government actually did the wrong to bring the person under the punishment or the legal procedure. Similar things we are seeing to happen during the recent COVID crisis about the health treatment, you know that. Because similar experiences we got from India, especially in Delhi riot and some other successive incidents that sparked and inflamed violences between the communities, between the professionals. And this type of tendency of the social and digital media users really create a very much anarchic situation in both the societies. So that's why we think that both the societies, India and Bangladesh, need a comprehensive media literacy. But whatever is available in this country in the name of these media literacy programs is mostly, as the available literature reviews reveal and show, that in India, in the school levels, there is a dearth of individual course, individual subject on social and digital media literacy. But in Bangladesh, in the secondary level, there is an individual course on the use of ICT, mostly focusing on tools and techniques of digital communication. But there is no lessons associated with the culture of tolerance, human values, context, which is very much parallel with the theme of our today's ICAN conference. That a comprehensive and all-inclusive lessons are needed to develop and formulate a very healthy socialization to stop such type of, or to minimize such type of behavior spread over these digital and social platforms by the users. We are seeing that, and we are noticing that both the misinformation and disinformation is spreading out. We know that who is actually the matter of misinformation, disinformation? There are adequate legal instruments and regulatory mechanisms in both Bangladesh and India to handle the issues of disinformation, actually to bring about the perpetrators or culprits under the legal procedure. But this is a reactive approach. So reactive approach won't breed a very positive and groundbreaking result in the long run. So that's why we need proactive approach in both India and Bangladesh. But in Bangladesh is also we see reactive approach because there are available legal mechanisms here, rich in both the countries are rich in laws and policies to handle this type of defamatory matters, this type of criminal activities, but especially for the misinformation that the people are used, common people's sentiments are used to spread, to believe and spread the perpetrators or the conspirators illicit content over the social and digital media. So that's why to combat against this misinformation, both the countries need a very comprehensive and groundbreaking activities that might be started even from the early childhood study, early childhood education, enriched in both the technological aspects and also the intellectual ability, critical ability to use the technology for the greater welfare. That's why I'm suggesting some of the activities. I'm not taking too much time. I'm only trying to complete it within 2 or 3 minutes. So that's why we think that since both the countries are facing almost similar social menace that triggered by the misinformation, disinformation, information spread over the digital and social media, these two countries undertake very comprehensive activities. Both the countries have press councils who can handle the matter of misinformation, disinformation, engaging the news media editors, civil society, media educators, policymakers, journalist associations, and also citizens forums. It is also a matter of hope that India has a few very successful programs, very prospective programs, like in Kerala, there is a media literacy program started, and also as per the education policy of 2020, government has also undertaken a very comprehensive program, Education for All, which included very good lessons, very good curriculum on digital literacy. Both India and Bangladesh television media and also print media have their own organizations, owners association who can be involved in this process of combating against the mis and disinformation, especially to find fake news in the facts through checking and rechecking and disseminating accurate information, right information. The penal code of both the countries are very much strong and also having strong provisions which can be used to handle the disinformation, and both the countries are undertaking this to manage to handle the situations that sometimes emerge. And for recognizing fake news, we have to, meaning that both of the countries need to initiate lessons even from the school. For example, the many developed countries like Italy, even Australia, we have experts from Australia, Italy, and some other countries have such type of program from the school that the students can easily identify and understand what is fake news, fake information. And an inclusive campaign, all inclusive campaign against the rumors should be formed, engaging all the tiers of the local government, educators, religious leaders. Religious leaders must be included in this campaign to combat against this type of mis and disinformation, since surrounding religion, the bigots, actually religious bigots, are very much active in both the countries to spread rumor, which spark communal disharmony and many a time lead violence. So that's why religious leaders of both the countries have here very good role, very positive roles. Counseling and motivation sessions should be in the school, madrasa, and other educational institutions on the nature of the social media and their contents. And schools should be facilitated to arrange monthly meeting with the guardians so that the parents have a good understanding on parenting practices, that how to monitor friendly the activities, especially the social media activities of their children. International development partners, especially like UNICEF, we know that UNICEF has program. So UNICEF, we can foster more and more program with UNICEF, and interministerial programs should be undertaken here. And since the nature, I told you also earlier, that since the nature and the consequences and types of the mis and disinformation in both the countries, and also subsequent social and digital media literacy and its tendency, expansion, are almost advancing in a similar way in both the countries. So a joint commission undertaking representatives from both the countries can be formed to monitor, to share experiences, to analyze, understand, and find out way outs on a really very long-term campaign to combat mis and disinformation for a healthy transformation of this behavior to the very much positive one. So thank you so much. Thank you, dear dignitaries and audience, for your patience hearing. And I would also like to revise the article. I know this is still, we have many opportunities, much opportunities to work on this. And I would like to share this through the moderator and also our respected conference chair, Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena and Professor Dr. Ujjwal Kumar Choudhury.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. Your keynote address has definitely motivated young scholars and academicians to raise new research questions in the areas of inclusivity, information patterns, and developmental aspects. Thank you again, sir. Thank you very much. Moving further, I would like to take permission from all the esteemed dignitaries. I would like to unveil the proceedings of the conference. The proceedings of ICAN5 have abstracts submitted by research scholars from 14 different countries. We have received best wishes from our patents and advisory board members. The proceedings are published with ISBN number. I request technical team to play the short video and release the proceedings. Moving further, we have with us today Professor Dr. Wajia Raza Rizvi, a trained professional from USA, UK, and Norway. She is also co-chair of the Gender Communication section of International Association of Media and Communication Research, and was also the project director to set up the Department of Film and Television at NCA in the year 2003 to 2006. She studied at NCA Lahore, was awarded Chugati Award for Excellence in Design. She then received scholarship from FCOSAS to study television production techniques at Northeast Media Training Center. Ma'am has done her MA in television documentary from Goldsmith University of London and has done her PhD from University of Punjab, Lahore. She has been working for the public and private sectors and has about 100 television productions and commercials to her credit. She has produced 65 SAF Star Quiz shows to raise funds for the 9th SAF Games among the 7 SAARC nations in Pakistan in the year 2001. She went on Fulbright to Oklahoma State University, specializing in film research and production. She is internationally published and her work is included in the readings for the courses at the University of US Army War College. Presently, she is working on the censorship of visual pleasure in Pakistani cinema. Welcome to the inaugural session of ICAN5, ma'am. Ma'am will also be taking a workshop on Delhi-Lahore documentary filmmaking. So I request ma'am to please address the gathering.
Respected guests and organizers from DME Media School, Delhi Metropolitan Education. We, as head of Gender and Communication of IMCR, strongly admire the commitment of the staff of DME Media School, or constituent of Delhi Metropolitan Education, working under Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. We appreciate your utmost commitment to take DME Media School to the highest graces. We especially congratulate Dr. Ambrish Saxena, Dr. Susmita Bala, Dr. Manmeet Kaur, Dr. Mansui Maheshwari for having the strongest committed team of professionals who are committed to taking this institution to the skies by regularly organizing ICAN conferences and other events. I haven't seen any other institution working so hard in such short time. I think DME has done tremendously well in the past quarter of a century. I think it comprises of gurus who are constantly bringing light to darkness and lighting the world through mastering knowledge in the field of media and communication. I believe the DME Media School constitute a dynamic department and young professionals who are doing tremendous hard work in rapidly transforming the world. The conference theme, inclusivity, convergence, and alternate negotiation, reflects the greatest aspirations of these scholars. It opens up our horizons for providing equal access to opportunities to all people across the world and in our countries that have diverse societies. It avoids exclusion of those who are consciously or unconsciously marginalized by people who are disabled, people with different gender, caste, or creed. Inclusivity is the emerging theme, and United Nations and all societies across the world are attempting hard in the recent years to enhance inclusivity for all their people, for all promises that we made to our people many years ago. And I believe that media scholars and professionals are undoubtedly the most important to exploring inclusive and alternative media themes and appreciate diversity and equality. And they are the best for owning and representing those who are part of our societies and who we keep ignoring for no reason, but we also try. We as professionals are trying better than the past to include all these people. And I think that converging media have necessitated these needs and desire problem-solving strategies and holistic understanding to create and transform our systems and to make our system better. So in this scenario, it would be best for all to look into alternative negotiations, and that is the purpose of the theme. The purpose and the theme of this ICAN5 conference. I congratulate the DME Media School and its faculty for initiating the work through the conference and the theme for the conference. I believe these opportunities will also take us to become better human beings and better professionals. I believe that DME has done so well in doing all these things, and they have done remarkably well over the past few years, and especially during the COVID-19 times. And in this regard, it has been in no way behind any advanced country. In fact, I believe in many ways it has done better than any other. I really want to congratulate everyone, Dr. Ambrish Saxena, Dr. Susmita Bala, Nasvi and Manmeet Kaur, and everyone present here, and all our esteemed guests. And from Gender and Communication, I especially want to appreciate that we partnered with the Digital DME School, and we think that nothing could be better. I think they have done tremendously well. I have seen no other institution working so hard and toward the 75th anniversary and producing all these programs and all these events. And I really appreciate this great effort of the DME. And I'm proud to have partnered as chair of Gender and Communication IMCR with DME Media School for this conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words of appreciation. We are glad that you have come and joined us for the inaugural ceremony of ICAN5. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Maithili Ganju, who has joined us for the inaugural session of ICAN5. Ma'am is a dean and professor at the Faculty of Media Studies and Humanities at Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies, Faridabad. She holds an MPhil PhD in sociology from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. She has 3 decades of work experience as a strategic planner and knowledge management specialist with leading media organizations like JWT India, Ogilvy Group, and as an academician at Manipal Academy of Higher Education and Jagran Institute of Management and Media Communication. She has designed several integrated communication campaigns in the development sector, social marketing, and for brands. These include campaigns like Pulse Polio Campaign, Red Ribbon Express, Sarv Siksha Abhiyan, HUL Brands, Horlicks, and to name a few. Ma'am, I would like to request you to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Manmeet. A very good evening to all present. It is indeed my pleasure and honor to be a part of today's gathering and the 7 days that we are looking forward to, which is something of an annual event or an annual festival, which DME has brought to the academic world of of the NCR, the India, the world, the globe, the everything. So my association with DME and with ICAN has been for a year now. I was a part of the ICAN4 as well, and that is when I actually came to know about DME, and we kind of have been interacting thereafter. And a lot of other people present here have been a part of our association, and the kind of work commitment and goodwill that DME has is only because of the kind of vision that both Sushmita as well as Dr. Ambrish has. And I've seen and I've been a part of their thinking process on several occasions, and therefore it's really heartening that we are back into the July, we are back into that whole, exuberance with which we hold a very, very serious event or a platform, which helps us as academicians also to take that little break and from our everyday mundane, existence into this very serious and at the same time sort of interesting sessions that we hold here, which help us not only to think, discuss, argue, but several times I have seen ideas which we may not even agree to, that kind of disruption for each thinker, which is essentially a hallmark of good thinking, is something that I'm really looking forward to in the next 7 days. I want to sort of keep this brief because it's been going on, and I want my other eminent guests to come and speak. I will be back again, in one of the days, and I will be a part of, this gathering, which, as I said earlier, is something that is an annual pilgrimage that all media education people now look forward to and have recognized and accepted as the time for us to grow. I want to congratulate DME entire team and all the organizers, as well as all the colleagues and friends that I have sort of met here on the panel, and look forward to these lovely days. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your kind words, ma'am. We are also looking forward for your panel discussion. Ma'am will be conducting a panel discussion in one of the sessions in the International Media Conference ICAN5. Moving further, Dr. Nakul Parashar has just joined us. So he is the Director, Vigyan Prasad, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. I request sir to please address the gathering.
First of all, very good afternoon to one and all, and I'm really delighted to be here on ICAN5 once again. Gives me an immense pleasure, particularly on a topic which was quite wide and talks about inclusivity, convergence, and alternative, the things that we've been looking at. And my predecessors on this forum today have spoken at length about how this all is very important in our current circumstances, and particularly in light of that we all talk about our mass communication and journalism as well. I represent science and technology, and the science and technology communication, popularization, and its extension, which we call as SCOPE, and of course has seen a great deal of changes, developments, and a lot of new things that have come up, and particularly in terms of convergence, where we've seen various kinds of experiments that have been done in various forms of communication so far. Particularly when it comes to print, electronic, social, and digital media, we've seen a great deal of developments, and we've seen a great deal of newer technologies being robed into it, and particularly when it comes to application of NLP techniques, for that matter, where content aggregation, summarization, and ontology development is being talked about. I feel it very nice to find that such technologies come to a rescue, particularly when we talk about aggregating content in today's world. Past 2 years of COVID have taught us how we've gotten close to various sources of content that are available and how we need to aggregate them. We have also seen how the so-called RSS feeds have become much more powerful in terms of content search, content filtration, and the content being reproduced as well. From disparate sources of content that we see at various places, aggregating them requires a lot of new data science techniques to bring them together, to cull that pieces of information. And the most important thing is, from a large garbage that is available, sifting through them and then trying to get what is pertinent for the audience that we all work for. This has really brought a lot of changes into how we think, how we teach, how we impart knowledge and education for our students, particularly in the area of journalism and mass communication. And for that matter, we've also seen how science, technology, communication, popularization has also emerged. We've all seen 2 years of COVID has created a lot of interest in general public about science and technology, and people are now very much interested to understand and particularly to get into the depths of how and what happens. Virus, bacteria differences which were not known to many are now on tips with a common man walking on a street as well. At least for a country like India, we've understood, at least like countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and others, we've all understood how important it is for us to bring in a lot of protocols in life with regards to sanitation, hygiene, and particularly community medicine. So all of this over a period of time, and particularly for topics which we've been considering so far as dry and drab, for things that we've been considering dry and drab have now become very interesting. And this is all because of convergence of technologies, convergence of new thoughts, ideas, experiments that we have undergone during the last 2 years. So I feel today's topic that the DME has brought forth in its ICAN5 is laudable, is highly relevant, and I find it very interesting for all those who've not joined here only for the inaugural, but for all those sessions that I'm sure will have a lot of subject matter experts speaking on different aspects of this topic that Professor Amrish Saxena has come up with. So I truly want to appreciate, really want to congratulate, and really want to, thank DME to have gotten to a level where the thought process of bringing in such kinds of conferences on an annual basis has taken such a shape and has achieved a height which I think has gone miles ahead from where we started. The kind of international recognition that I see has gotten in the past few years, and particularly this particular edition of ICAN, I think will certainly open up new thoughts and ideas, and a lot of it would emanate from this ICAN5. I again feel very honored, privileged to be a part of this, and truly want to thank everybody, Amanji, Dr. Bhavar Singh ji, Amrish ji, and all others out here at DME really are, they deserve a big round of applause. And from Vigyan Prasar's standpoint, we're always there to support and provide all those inputs that are required to ensure that such events, and particularly with the kind of topic that you have chosen, needs all due respect, support, and needs to be taken to different heights where new innovative ideas can be brought forth, discussed, and then converted into actionable items. So with this, once again, I really want to thank the organizers, particularly DME and Professor Amrish Saxena ji for having me at this point in time. And I think there was much more that we could have thought and talked about, but I guess there's been a paucity of time, and my apologies again and again for not having heard earlier when you had called my name, though I was there for reasons galore. On this note, once again, thanking all of you and wishing this ICAN5 a great success, like it had in the previous years, much bigger than that. So I really can't resist myself repeating and applauding the efforts again and again. Good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nakul sir. There is no need to apologize. You have been so kind and so supportive all the time. You have conducted various workshops and sessions at DME for our students, for the faculty members. Your support during the conference and your support during the film festival of the media school is always appreciated and kind. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you. Heartfelt welcome to Dr. Jatin Srivastav, our partner from Ohio University, USA. Dr. Srivastav is the Associate Professor and Director of the Institute for International Journalism at E.W. Scripps School of Journalism at Ohio University. His research is rooted in the theory-based exploration of the new media environment, and his teaching experiences ranging from graduate seminars in the mass communication theory and research methods to undergraduate courses on graphic design and media literacy. We are honored to have you here, sir. I request you to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Manmeet. It's always great to be here. It's always great to be at ICAN. My deep regards and to all the dignitaries present here, the leadership of DME, Dr. Ambrish Saxena, and all other academicians and students, who are a welcome change. It's good to see students, especially undergraduate students, in academic conferences. So today I would like to, this is a very welcome theme, especially the focus on inclusivity. And I would like to talk a bit about the focus on attitude, the focus on approaches, what we as academicians are doing. Why does academic research matter? And remember, this is a conversation I've had with many professionals and academicians and students, and with myself at times, right? And the question is this: why does academic research even matter? How does it matter? Why should we even care about it? And I remember this conversation I had with with a journalism practitioner, a journalist, and from a Latin American country some times ago, and he was saying that we really don't need media researchers, right? What are you doing? You are saying, all right, so this is how a story is being covered. But people already can look at it and figure out how a story is being covered. You don't need to tell them, right? Similarly, a lot of other things. How women are represented. People can already look at it and say how women are represented or how different groups are represented. So the question becomes very pertinent, I think, in today's day and age, especially at a time when we have a lot of, a good number of students present in this gathering. When I was a student and I did my MBA from IMT Ghaziabad back in India, and a very long time ago, 1999 to 2001, we rarely thought about research. And when we heard about some research, a lot of times it would be seen, at least by us, or I would say students, as inconsequential, something that doesn't really matter. And but the professors do it for no understandable reason, right? So let me talk a bit about it. And I think it is important to talk about the research. It's important to talk about the craft. It's important to talk about the method. It's important to talk about the idea of research that is good, that serves a purpose, and research that might not in the same way. And that's why conferences like this are important, where people can get together, look at each other, look at each other's work, and people can explain their work and open themselves to inquiry, where people can ask, all right, so this is what we are saying. How did you do that? And they could explain, right? That's the idea of transparency. And that is a very, very important idea. Doesn't matter what we are studying, from inclusivity to digital negotiations to any other idea. But the temperament is the key. When we look at media research, there are different functions we serve in the society, or we expect to serve in the society, even though, in India and in many of the countries in the global South, our media environment, academic environments are in a phase of transition. Things are evolving. We are figuring things out. We are doing something already very, very well. And there are some things we are figuring out. And remember, that's the truth with all the systems across the world. So I think three major things that media research or that research does is, number one, it brings out voices which might otherwise be underrepresented, or not represented at all. So media research may, so there might be researchers who are talking about the problems faced by women, or how women are being represented in media, and that is furthering their problems, or that is kind of hindering the solutions to those problems, problems of minorities, groups that are so small, that are so silent, right? Women are 50%, of our population, and I read somewhere that of Indian population and the population of the world, I would say close to 50%, give or take a bit. So there are silent minorities, silent majorities in this case, or other minority groups who are so small that they cannot muster a voice strong enough or big enough in the public discourse in a democracy, which is very noisy, where there are a lot of noises. And sometimes those who have a lot of voices, or those groups that have a lot of people, they have stronger voices just because they have a lot of people. So one function is that our research brings out voices, right? Voices which wouldn't otherwise be heard. The second thing is, and I think that's a very, very important function, specifically of media research or journalism research. So when we talk about, this chain of accountability, right, in a democratic system, or pretty much in any system, we say, all right, so there is government, and the government is expected to be responsible or accountable to people. However, people can fix accountability only when the election happens, at least in India, and many other countries. So that's the only way, that's the only time when people can actually actively participate in democracy in a way that their representatives respond to them. And that's why, there are areas across the world, and of course in India too, where roads get better close to the election, schools get built close to the election, teachers get bonuses, and new schemes come up all close to the election. So one idea is, all right, so media keeps people, governments accountable to people. Okay, all right, but who makes the media accountable? A media that remains unquestioned can lose its credibility in the eye of people. So there is a relationship of trust between the media and the people. If people don't trust the media to tell them the truth, then how do we, how does this relationship work, or how does a democracy, how is a democracy able to function? And I think that's where academicians come in. That's where academic research comes in, where you say, we evaluate the media, we see what's going on there, and we show our work. So we are not saying that you should trust it because I'm saying so, and I'm this, or this. You are saying that you should trust me because this is how I did it. And you look at the work, and if the work makes sense, if the method makes sense, then you should trust the findings. I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm not asking you to trust the academician. I'm asking you to trust the knowledge, or evaluate the knowledge and trust it. So I'm showing you my work, right? And that's a very, very important factor. Transparency, accountability. That is something that we do need to work on. And remember, a lot of times, basic questions. We are living in very polarized societies, right? Very basic questions like, should women get more representation? Or should women be represented differently in media? Or is media representing certain groups a certain way? Those kind of questions, which would have been really easy to figure out, are highly debated, highly contested. So there is a situation where you say, this is a mango and mango is good for your health. Someone would say, no, I beg to differ. Or, let's say apple or whatever. So everything is contested in our public spheres, in our public discourses. And that's where academia may provide information that is verified, information that is research, information that is logical, and thus serve the society. right? So that's the ideal. Now there are not, things don't always work ideally, right? We believe things to be we believe things or hope things to be ideal, but there are always gray areas. So we say, all right, so even if the media is working perfectly, even if academia is working perfectly, and that should hold the media accountable and and lead conversations among the public, evaluating the media in a rational, logical manner. But for that to happen, you need a public that is educated, that can understand research, that can understand methodological factors, that can understand when certain findings are are to be trusted and when not to be trusted. But then the problem is that our public might not be that educated. And so in our schools, a lot of times we are doing that too. All our students don't become academic researchers. They become professionals. Some of them move to some other professions. Some of them just, don't do anything professionally, but they still serve a function. They are citizens of the country. They make democratic decisions. They contribute to public discourses, even though this discourse is limited just to their living rooms and their dining rooms and their kitchens. Okay. And that's why, academia is important and academic research is important. Okay. So that, I think, is a very important thing. But how do we do that? How do we talk about the scientific temperament? How do we create this culture where if I say as an academician or as a scholar that this is what I see, I'm also able to explain this is how I got here. This is why I see it, right? And everyone else who can understand or who is trained can look at it and say, all right, tell me this. Why do you think this is right? Or why do you think this is not right? Okay. And when that happens, then you get better, because academicians do make a lot of mistakes. There is good research and there is not so good research. And a lot of times, bad research takes away credibility from all academia. Bad research takes away credibility from all academic research. And remember, it's not like we are born with the ability to figure out what's good research and what's bad research, or what are the principles, how to follow the method. Right? It's just that we practice, we work with each other, we face questions, we try to answer, and then we realize that, I did that wrong, or maybe this was questionable, maybe this was problematic. And so we learn as a community. And that's where these conferences, especially a conference like ICAN, works very well, because it creates a community of scholars where scholars can engage with each other, where they can, where they can talk not only about the good things, not only about their achievements, but also understand their limitations, where they learn to be accountable. Remember, learning to be accountable is a very, it sounds very good, but it can be really, really complicated. It's, learning to be accountable means, yes, saying that, yes, it makes sense. This is what I did. But also being able to accept that, yes, this was a problem. This is what I did not understand. This is what was a limitation of my research. This is what I could do, which I can do better in future. So, and I believe that's why humility has been given so much importance in academic cultures, especially in Indian academic cultures and traditions, especially among academicians. So, with that, I would stop here. Thank you very much, Dr. Saxena and Manmeet and all the team. I wish you all the best for a wonderful conference, and thank you very much.
Definitely, sir. Media research is the connection to provide voices to many marginalized sections of the society. And definitely, you have mentioned about the accountability within the society, about the participation of the people, credibility and transparency of the media. We are glad to have you here, sir. So these questions can be answered by carrying out research, and you have mentioned the role of academician in a very insightful manner. Thank you once again, sir, for joining us today. On behalf of DME Media School, I thank all the partners, distinguished guests, and hope to have very fruitful relations in the future as well. Thank you, everyone. Our next guest of the evening is Aftab Hussain. He is the university teacher, senior lecturer, journalism, media, and communication, Daffodil International University, Bangladesh. He is a PhD candidate, School of Communication, University of Science, Malaysia. He is holding the position of convener, JMC Institutional Quality Assurance Cell, and adding to his excellence, he has contributed in the areas of research like cyberbullying, social media, news framing, film, and television. He also holds expertise in documentary filmmaking. He is the research coordinator in the Department of Journalism, Media, and Communication, and member secretary, Research Ethics Committee, Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences in Daffodil International University. I welcome you, sir. I request you to please address the gathering.
I would like to thank Professor Amrish Saxena, Professor Manaspi for inviting us as a partner organization for the ICAN 5th edition of ICAN. And I wish all of you best of luck. And why conferences are needed. I think it was very well explained by my previous speaker, Dr. Jatin Srivastav. So I won't talk about that any much, but these are the networking experiences we need. And I invite all of you to come to my university anytime, any day. We'd like to host you as in Bangladesh as a partner organization. So from now on, we have partnered the ICAN conference. So I wish all of you best of luck. And briefly about my department, my university, Daffodil International University's Department of Journalism, Media, and Communication. We are research-based department. We have the intention to solve the social problems through research and our practical works. And we believe that these problems could be solved. The social problems could be solved by the media schools and social science schools. So these social problems could be solved, and we can deliver many important things to the academia. So as long as we can solve these things, the policies also, we look into the policies to change and update the policies. So these are our main contributions to the academia from the Department of Journalism, Media, and Communication, Daffodil International University. So it is our privilege to be a part of this conference. I would like to thank all the other organizers and co-organizers, hosts, and thank you very much for being with us and inviting us in this great occasion. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir, for your kind address. The next guest of the inauguration session is Dr. Jolly Jose, an associate professor and assistant director research in Amity School of Communication, Amity University, Noida. She is also the PhD coordinator of Amity School of Communication. Dr. Jose has a blending career experience of teaching, research, and grassroots work with communities and groups. Ma'am has worked in 4 international development projects with Christian Aid, 2 UGC major research projects on children and media. She was the principal investigator of 6-year-long live research project with NGO based in Kerala. Currently working on Pan-India project, Rebuilding the Lives of Migrant Workers in India, a project of Caritas Australia. She is the author of 2 books and published more than 22 research papers to her credit as the first author. Her teaching interests are communication research, communication theories, journalism, media laws and ethics, and development communication. At present, she guides 5 research scholars. She also works as the editor of 2 issues of Amity Journal Amity Communication Review, a peer-reviewed journal. So I welcome you, ma'am, to the inauguration session of ICAN5. I request you to please address the gathering.
First of all, my congratulations to all the organizers and to DME school for the extensive journey which you have made for the last 4 years and spearheading with the extensive journey and connecting the topic to the relevance, media and its role in the society. And all the partners of this effort during the pandemic and pre and the present time, you've made it very alive. And congratulations to Dr. Saxena and the eminent team. The topic it is, which have been really quite a bit elaborated by the former speakers, has highlighted its necessity and its relevance. And a lot of practically applied elements are going to come in the coming days with a lot of data with the researchers across the world, across the Asian region, is going to come. When you speak about convergence, first of all, the thought comes to everyone is the convergent media. And the second term, it is the inclusiveness. I recall the term inclusiveness in the 90s, which we had extensive workshop when I started my career. And what does it mean? And inclusiveness of culture, that is a time which time we were working with. And of course, the new media, when we speak about, it was expected to be the so-called media, which is going to be inclusive and revolutionary. I remember in the 2004 social media, World Social Forum, we're speaking about a lot of dreams where the media is going to be completely changed from the dominance of the hands of the few, and it is going to be the free, inclusive, the so-called media with wider expressions. But as we know, the today's reality is that it again got in the hands of the free market economies. It is in this context, the challenging topic, it's not only the challenging topic, it is the challenging concept in front of media educators and researchers. And in the whole context of the media, you have called this ICAN5. What is inclusiveness? What is alternative? What is the reality today? And from there to focus a new direction to the whole of the media work. And I'm sure media schools and media organizations together got to address this reality, which is being generated by the market economies. We all of us are victim of it. Both Professor Ambarish Saxena and we sit together is a continuous contributor to Amity School of Communication, the research context. You say, what are the topics which is coming today for research? Mostly come from what is surfacing in the social media, the topic itself. And where is this inclusiveness? Where is the real world which has been going? I'm also in the with my research team out in the field, looking at searching for where the migrants are being located in our country, and what are the factors which is pushing and pulling elements which makes them to be a migrant. And we are sitting today also from morning onwards, my team working on the factors and areas where they are. And we don't have much of a space to discuss about those who are excluded by the media and in the media, and media professionals, media educators, and also their researchers. And this is the challenge. And 2 points which is being talked about when you speak about the convergence, what I would like to coin as plurality and the diversity introduced by Friedman. So plurality is the reference from the media context is the variety of views, and the diversity is the content where the people and expressions and varieties of opinion. And the convergence must be the combination of these two. And connecting to that, another important point mentioned by the misunderstanding the news audience. This is a book which I've been reading these days. They beautifully it has put it that all what we consume or tend to take by the US statements needs to be reinterrogated. So reinterrogated must need to be in the context of the convergence that beautifully presented by this conference, the diversity and the plurality. And the choice which is being made in this context would be the empowering element of the media, which can be brought out in the context of popular media practices and alternate media practices, and also the research practices of today. And though we speak about media, social media would give a lot of choices and options. And the reality, again, all of us come across is that the options which we can make, though the new convergent media, which would give options, but if plurality and diversity is missed out, again, the listeners, the users of the media will be again marginalized or pushed aside to take their own choices within the limited options today. And the options to increase these options is a challenge again. And where do we go? We look for the increasing these options. And the liberal approach speak about the network, the audience, they influence the elite's voice. And elite's voice is again being, again coming into the mainstream media, and in a way, the marginalized media, which is created in the context of market is the new media platform. And there are two types of information which is needed today. One is the information which is generated in the social media, which is quite a bit available to some section. Again, there is an excluded section, and our mainstream media. When the new media brings bits and pieces of what is flirting in the society, and we need the mainstream media to give links to it. And the role of us today as media educators and the researchers and the mainstream and the other media practitioners is that to maintain both the mainstream media and the new media. And I hope this platform would come up with a lot of evidences and furthermore options and thought process on what is the convergences in the context of a worldwide reality, which will be happening in the upcoming days. And I really look forward for the outcome of this conference to see what really the inclusive media and the convergent media which we are looking at. And I wish all the very best, and thank you for providing this opportunity, very especially Dr. Ambrish Saxena and the entire team and the collaborative team, which is out there with a lot of exciting. It's not really, when I say exciting, the information will be exciting to those who look at what is the new outcome of the both major mainstream and the other media will be looking at. And thank you so much once again, and I wish you all the very best for the diverse platform. It's not just paper presentations. We can see that as you design it, it's also in a pluralistic manner. Multiple things are happening from diverse context that is going to enrich. I can be another enriching experience and value added contribution, which is coming up from the Indian context itself. That is something very beautiful. And once again, I congratulate the entire team and all the contributors, and thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful address. It was indeed a pleasure that you have joined us today. Our next guest of the evening is Faiza Rafiq, Co-Vice Chair, IMCR Gender Section, and she is from Foreman Christian College, Pakistan. She is working as an assistant professor with the Mass Communication Department. Her research focuses on women empowerment, digital activism, violence on women and human rights, and political economy of media. She has been a member of IAMCR since 2017 and a member of AGEMI, Advancing Gender Equality in Media Industries. She has also supervised student projects on media advocacy, women rights, and digital activism campaigns. As a vice chair, she aims to connect feminists from across the globe to collaborate on research projects and work towards creating interdisciplinary research opportunities. I welcome you, ma'am, and requesting you to please address the gathering.
Thank you so much for a very warm welcome. And firstly, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the entire team of DME for putting together such an amazing conference. ICAN5 is not just a conference, but it's something which is very relevant. The topic is very, very pertinent to what is happening around the world. So when we talk about opportunity, when we talk about transparency, when we talk about all of these issues like inclusivity, we talk about convergence. So one thing that comes to my mind is that how media, as a media practitioner, as a media researcher, as media academics, it's not just our responsibility, but I think it's very, very important that how do we connect with the practical world of the media to the theoretical world of the media. So I take this as an opportunity that how we can provide people with alternative ideas of new media platforms, how it's going to be practiced in terms of transparency. And so I think it's very important. And again, once again, I'm looking forward to hearing all the wonderful researches from across the globe. So political economy of media is something which is of my interest. So political economy of media does not really determine something which has to do with politics. It can be of how media is representing the information to general public. So when we talk about inclusivity, when we talk about this idea of new information platforms, media literacy, so it's very important that we connect with the existing policies of the media to the new ideas of the media policy. And unless we do not change or we do not provide that kind of a research or an entire recourse is done, so people won't be offered with an alternative of how to consume information online, digital form or any other form. So again, it's a pleasure to be a part of ICAN, and congratulations to the entire team. And I look forward to attending all the amazing sessions. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. DME Media School takes immense pleasure to welcome Expert Advisory Board member, Professor KG Suresh. He is the Vice Chancellor, Makhanlal Chaturvedi, National University of Journalism and Mass Communication, Bhopal. He is the former Director General, Indian Institute of Mass Communication, New Delhi. ex-jury member, National Film Awards and Indian Panorama, and ex-member, FTII Governing Council and SRFTI Society, Kolkata. I welcome you, sir, to the inaugural ceremony of ICAN5. You have been so supportive and always collaborate with us. You have been our advisory board member, and we are happy that you have joined us today. So, sir, I request you to please address the gathering.
A very good evening and greetings from Asia's first and India's largest media university, and from the beautiful lake city of Bhopal. It's such a pleasure to be back at ICAN. And I see the pleasant faces of my friends, Amrish Saxena and Sushmita here. And I see so many of my friends in the panel also. And ICAN, I must say, this is the 5th edition, and I've seen it growing right from the first edition. And today, you know, when you witness the kind of participation that it has from across the globe, you see a global footprint. That's something remarkable for a conference which I'm sure that, you know, is going to grow in strength in the days to come. And my compliments and congratulations to Mr. Aman Sani and Amrish Saxena, Dr. Sushmita Bala, and their entire team who have been doing such a wonderful job. And we at Makhanlal have been participating in this. And this year too, we are an academic partner in this entire initiative. I have come across and I've been told about the publications of the research papers, that's presented in these conferences, which are of immense value on different divergent topics, from cinema to convergence, something that's remarkable. And this year too, the theme of your conference is inclusivity and convergence. And I must say that these are very important topics, particularly given the current media scenario across the globe. We are all looking at getting exposed to media like never before, 24/7/365. Right from the age of 5 to 95, we have people getting exposed to media like never before. But is it an inclusive media that they are getting exposed to? Is the big question. Is the media inclusive? Does it talk about the marginalized? Does it represent the voice of the voiceless? These are questions that we need to ask. We too have been working in this direction. We find that increasingly development journalism is missing from the so-called mainstream journalism today. We are increasingly getting obsessed with political journalism, whereas very important developmental issues are being ignored, which need to be taken up. We are only driven by our target audience. We are not driven by the causes for which the very purpose of media is there. That's to be the voice of the voiceless, to promote the cause of the downtrodden, the poor, the underprivileged, to give healthy, meaningful feedback to the powers that be, and to persuade the powers that be to act on active investigative reportage. These are very important things. Unfortunately, we don't find these things happening today in media. And it's important that media takes up these issues. And this is a global phenomenon. We are now more bothered with the trivia In fact, media is being accused of being a party. Media is being accused of being polarized. Media is no more the uniting force it used to be, the cementing force that it used to be. We need to look into all this to restore the credibility of the media. Second most important thing is convergence. Again, for me, when you talk about convergence, for me, the concerns are about cross-media ownership. Are we going for, though we are having divergent platforms, are we looking at the same ecosystem, which is going to be reflected in all the media platforms? Or the multiplicity of the platform will also lead to multiplicity of voices being represented, is a big question. So the convergence for what? Is it only in terms of marketing, or is it also in terms of diversity? Is it enabling the convergent newsroom? Is it only leading to, or media, big media houses are benefiting from it, or the lonely voices are also being impacted by it? These are questions which we need to examine as media educators, as media students, as media practitioners. I'm sure that this is not an occasion to give a long speech. Most of the audiences present here, you must be, experiencing fatigue after listening to all these eminent people since the last 2 hours or more. So I do not want to add on to your fatigue, but I'm sure that you must have been given so many ideas by all these eminent speakers that you have enough material to do some internal brainstorming and come up with ideas that can solve some of the problems that are being highlighted. Because the idea of ICAN and other similar such initiatives is to come up with viable solutions. Because we may deliberate endlessly for hours, for days, but if that's not leading to a solution, it's meaningless. So the whole idea of coming together, converging here, is to come up with ideas that can reshape the world, that can redefine media, that can bring about a paradigm shift. I'm sure ICAN5 and the deliberations therein is going to contribute to that. My best wishes to the organizers, and I'm sure that the deliberations would lead to important policy changes also in the days to come. Once again, my gratitude to the organizers for making us a part of this very important event, and compliments for organizing this very successful event, and my best wishes for this conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Thank you very much. It is a joyous moment for all of us that ICAN5 has officially started its 7-day journey of academic enrichment. Now, I would like to call upon my dear colleague, Dr. Manasvi Maheshwari, Associate Professor, DME Media School at Delhi Metropolitan Education, to extend her vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Manmeet Kaur. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of health. Learning is the beginning of spirituality. Searching and learning is where the miracle processes all begins. A well-written quote by Jim Rohn. And we all have started this 7-day of learning, discourse, discussion, deliberations. I feel immense pleasure in proposing vote of thanks in the inaugural ceremony of ICAN5, the 7-day hybrid international conference. Today, we were fortunate enough to have Dr. Muhammad Shafiul Islam for delivering the keynote address on the topic, Digital and Social Media Literacy, and Emerging Reality in Bangladesh and India. I would also like to extend my heartiest gratitude to Professor K.G. Suresh, Conference Chair, Professor Ujjwal K. Chaudhary, Conference Co-Chair. You both have been great support in all our endeavors. DME shares a special relation with you, professors. Thank you, Dr. Vikrant Kishore. You have been an instrumental in our association with Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. We feel more confident when you are around. I would also thank Dr. Jatin Srivastava from Ohio University for being a strong pillar in making ICAN one of its kinds conference. Sir, you have always touched new aspects of research in your sessions, and this year also we are looking forward to more such interesting sessions. Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan Prasad, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Sir, you are kind enough to be there and motivate us. ICAN has reached new heights because we got support from you all in all the editions, previous editions, and in ICAN5 we seek your wishes and support. My special thanks to Professor Dr. Waziha Raza Rizvi. Ma'am, you have brought us amazing ideas. This is the first time you are part of ICAN5, but I'm sure this will go a long way, and we all are looking forward for your session on documentary films. I would also add here the name of Faiza Rafiq from IMCR. Thank you, Faiza, for being there with us today. Dr. Aftab Hussain from Daffodil International University. Sir, we are looking forward for your sessions too. This year, ICAN is focusing on South Asian countries, and with you on board, I'm sure we will be able to add value to our sessions. And thank you once again. We also have amongst us Dr. Maithili Ganju from Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence, and you're bringing in a lot of women power. We are eager to attend your sessions this year. Dr. Jolly Jose from MIT University. Ma'am, we are happy to have you today, and your presence makes a difference to all our participants. We also have with us the partnering institutes, the organizations, the 17 partners we have this year. Special thanks to the conference partner, International Association of Media and Communication Research, Gender and Communication Section, commonly known as IMCR Gen Section. Global Media Education Council, GMEC. Knowledge partners, Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism, Vigyan Prasad, KSF, Keshav Suri Foundation. Our international partners, Institute for International Journalism, Ohio University, USA, Green University, Bangladesh, Daffodil International University, Bangladesh. Our media partners, Amar Ujala, The Policy Times, Jai Hind Times, The Hindi Post. ICAN5 is powered by Asian Media and Cultural Studies Network Australia, Australia India Film Practitioners and Researchers Network Australia, SPARC, the Student Council of DME Media School, RIM Research Cell of Media School. The conference is also supported by NOTO, National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. I thank all our partners for adding value to our conference. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the management, faculty, staff, and students of DME, with special mention to Director General Justice Bhavar Singh, Mr. Aman Sahani, Vice Chairman, Dr. Ravikant Swami, Director DME, Dr. Amrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School and convener of the conference, Dr. Shushmita Bala, Head DME Media School and Associate Chief Convener of the conference. Thank you everyone for your support and motivation. I would like to just say that this is the beginning of next 6 days of conference, and this is only the first session. We all are looking forward for your support, your presence, and your blessings. Thank you, everyone. I once again thank all the students who are there in the studio and have connected online for their patience listening. And from tomorrow, we'll be beginning our technical session, masterclasses, and workshop. So thank you once again. Thank you so much.